Hello and welcome to Granada Reports. We're live with the news in the northwest.
Yeah, good evening and thanks for joining us. Here's what's coming up on tonight's programme.
First came the snow and then the rain. Now a new weather warning is on the way. We'll have the latest as the region braces for more winter woes.
It's really important that people do look after themselves and also look out for any friends and family that might be vulnerable as well.
Tributes to the Liverpool drag star James Lee Williams, better known as the Vivian, who died suddenly at the age of 32.
Manchester United legends past and present turn out to pay their respects for Kath Phipps, the club stalwart for 55 years.
We will be at the world premiere of
Bank of Dave, The Lone Ranger, the sequel to the first one that were #1 all over the world.
You brought your shovel.
Got me shovel there as well. Get the shovel in the back. Go on.
Welcome to Burnley.
Live in the drain.
And after that disruptive heavy snow and rain through the weekend, things looking calmer this week, but also colder. I'll have more on that later in the programme.
So please do stay with us for all of that. But first tonight, the parts of our region where snow and freezing temperatures over the past 2 days has caused disruption for many returning to work or school after the Christmas break.
Yeah, the snow made for tricky conditions on the roads and rail network. Hundreds of schools and nurseries were closed, and for those still cleaning up after last week's flooding, it made for even more worry about their homes and businesses.
Well, as we come on air tonight, there's a new Met Office alert for much of the northwest, a warning over icy patches caused by melting snow and rain. In a moment, we'll hear from our weather presenter, Ross Hutchinson. But first, this report from Tim Scott.
As the snow came down this morning, a crash on the M56 near Warrington meant huge queues for rush hour drivers. 2 lanes were closed, leading to delays of up to 2 hours. Thankfully, though, there were no reports of injuries. Manchester Airport closed due to the snow this morning, then reopened later. The Snake and Woodhead passes into Yorkshire were impassable, and there was disruption on many minor roads as well. Rail services were disrupted and some schools closed, partly because of today's weather and also the after effects of last week's floods. In Cheadle, the Churchley family are still counting the cost.
6-month rebuild of the property. Everything needs to come out and all the walls need to get dry.
Micker Brook, which backs onto their house, burst its banks on New Year's Eve while the family were in bed. They awoke to downstairs being completely flooded, Christmas presents ruined, and they now face a long wait to get their house repaired. It's the second time in 5 years they've been flooded out.
So we had a flood report done when we bought this house,
Yeah.
and it never flooded in the whole time.
Really?
So
And you've had it twice in, what, 5.5 years?
twice
or so?
in 5.5 years now. So unfortunately, it seems to be like it's going to be a more regular occurrence.
To make things worse, the family say that this time the system for warning them about flooding failed.
We always get flood alerts usually because we're on this river, and they come thick and fast normally.
That's by text?
By text, and sometimes I get an automated phone call.
Yeah.
But on this occasion, I didn't get an automated call or a text till 2 a.m, so after the flood.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think the water started coming into the house at about 12:15. So it's, 2 hours late.
So I understand it was New Year's Eve, but obviously without that warning, we couldn't save anything or get out.
If somebody from the Environment Agency was here now, what would you say to them?
Well, I want to know what happened to the 2019 report, why we're in this situation 5.5 years later, and what the hell is going to happen, what is going to happen next to stop this a third time. This affects so many people. You've seen all the reports over the last few days. Like, this can't carry on.
Meanwhile, an amber cold health alert has been issued for every part of England this coming week, and there's a warning there could be a rise in deaths as a result of freezing weather conditions, and we're all advised to check in on the vulnerable.
So in terms of looking out for each other, if people are able to check on their friends, family, neighbours who they know they might be more vulnerable, check if they need anything or help them get anything that they need during this time. That's really helpful.
The UK Health Security Agency says the cold weather warnings will run for the rest of the week, After a mild run into the festive season, it seems winter has finally arrived. Tim Scott, ITV News.
Yeah, it certainly has arrived, and heartbreaking for those residents who've been badly affected by the adverse conditions. And we asked the Environment Agency about what happened to those in Cheadle and South Manchester. And the spokesman told us the Disbury flood storage basin was opened, but they explained, unfortunately, due to record water levels on the River Mersey, embankments were breached and flood defences overtopped, which led to some properties flooding.
But are we through the worst of it? Well, earlier I spoke to ITV forecaster Ross Hutchinson and asked him why the weather is making the headlines for all the wrong reasons.
Well, the setup's not been great for us. We've had these weather systems moving their way in from the west, bringing heavy spells of rain. We got a bit of a respite, but then cold air snuck its way down from the north, and it did mean the rain that arrived through the weekend was readily turning to snow as it hit that colder air, even down to lower levels. So again, causing that widespread disruption. The better news, though, it has been clearing its way further east. Some brighter skies appearing through today.
Yeah, it has looked brighter today. Does that mean we've seen the worst for now?
I think for us, it's the downpours that we're trying to avoid, the rain and the snow. And the good news is that most of those have cleared through, but we have got plenty of cold weather coming this week. And with the combination of the snow lying, the water we've seen over recent days, real risk of ice through the next few nights as temperatures could drop down to -10 degrees. So again, not ideal for our heating bills.
Gosh, -10. Well, thanks, Ross. And he'll, of course, have the full forecast later in the programme.
Some more of the day's news now, and a 6-month-old baby girl from Greater Manchester has died following a crash in a multi-storey car park. Sophia Kellerman from Lear near Wigan was injured in the collision in Tenby in Wales on Thursday. Police confirmed Sophia was taken to hospital but died the following day. A 33-year-old man from Wigan has been charged with causing death by dangerous driving.
Police are renewing their appeal for information on what would have been the 25th birthday of a man murdered in Liverpool almost 3 years ago. Sam Rimmer was shot by a group of men on bikes in Dingle. 10 people have since been arrested, but no one's been charged.
Now look at what's to come on the ITV Evening News at 6:30. Here's Mary.
Coming up on the evening news, fresh snow and ice warnings as parts of Britain battle the big freeze. There's flooding and disruption on the rail and roads as the winter weather forces hundreds of schools to close. The Prime Minister fights back over Elon Musk's incendiary online posts. Sir Keir Starmer's fury over what he calls the lies and misinformation. And
This is the first time I've ever won anything.
more than 4 decades in the industry, Demi Moore finally bags an acting gone. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Well, next are the tributes that are being paid to reality television star James Lee Williams, who's died aged 32.
Yeah, known as the Vivian, the drag queen who established their career in Liverpool but lived in Chester, shot to fame after winning the first series of RuPaul's Drag Race and later came third on ITV's Dancing on Ice.
Well, Cheshire Police said they were called to an address yesterday after reports of a sudden death, but confirmed there were no suspicious circumstances.
The Vivian's been described as a warm-hearted and amazing person, as Andy Bonner now reports.
She sparkled her way into the public eye.
Don't get too comfy, girls. This isn't going to take 2 minutes.
My name is the Vivian. I'm 26 years old and I'm from a gorgeous little fishing village called Liverpool.
And it was on RuPaul's Drag Race that she really made a name for herself.
This is a drag queen without hair.
Leave me alone.
But friends like John had watched the performers rise to fame. The Vivian supported causes like the HIV and LGBTQ+ charity, where John now works.
I've known him for around 15 years, and it just doesn't feel like it's real. I'm just waiting to wake up, and I think that's how a lot of the community are feeling right now. I can't scroll social media without seeing either Vivian or James's face, which is lovely to see all the memories, but also it's quite upsetting because we know there won't be any more.
The Vivian made it all the way to the West End via shows like Dancing on Ice, but it was in Liverpool that James developed the act as a teenager. The Vivian did have humble beginnings, but her career started to take off here at the Superstar Boudoir on Stanley Street, in the heart of Liverpool's Pride District.
For us as Liverpool, seeing someone going from Liverpool to achieve so much, but also for someone that represented us as a community as a whole was huge. Certainly locally, there are so many people that look up to her.
Today, the drag community was still coming to terms with its loss.
It's not sinking in. It doesn't feel real. She achieved everything that what I class myself as a backstreet drag queen wanted to achieve, and she did it all. And it's such a small space of time as well. And that's like a proper testament to her talent and her character.
You just go, yeah, it's a load of clothes.
Chris used to manage the Vivienne Westwood store where James would get his outfits.
If we'd have gone on in life and Vivienne Westwood had lived, then I would have probably took the Vivienne to one of the shows. But obviously she's passed. And I can't believe that. She's only 32. I'm gutted.
It's a shock, isn't it? It's a shock, isn't it?
The Vivienne.
Friends say the Vivienne inspired a generation. James's family have been left heartbroken. Andy Bonner, ITV News, Liverpool.
So sad, isn't it? Sending all our love to their loved ones.
Well, next tonight, to a big test for one of our region's elected mayors. Andy Burnham has succeeded in his wish to bring Greater Manchester's bus network under public control after decades of deregulation.
Well, it means the mayor's promises of a London-style public transport network can be fulfilled, but can he make it a success? Rob Smith has more.
One colour, one name, 1,600 buses. This part of Greater Manchester's public transport is now completely publicly controlled for the first time since 1986. The promise of the B network is more reliable, more affordable, greener services. Mayor Andy Burnham insists it isn't just about painting buses yellow, it's about creating London-style integrated transport where people stop using cars as a first choice.
If more people use the B network, the proceeds comes back to the public purse and we can then use that money to keep fares low. In the past, if people were using the buses, the money, the extra, would have gone out in profits to the private operators or dividends to the shareholders. This is a very different system.
Some passengers we met using the system were impressed by its promise. Some found teething problems with timetables and bus numbers changed.
The network itself, I think, is a great idea. However, in practice, it's not. On the app, I can't get the times.
So now you're sat here with no bus?
In essence, yes.
If the changes are seen that they're using more of EV buses now, and then that is going to reduce emission, I think it will be good.
The mayor is talking about having a transport system like London's.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a realistic prospect?
That'd be a great idea,
That'd be ideal.
The network also includes the area's tram, with contactless cap fares across it and bus services promised this spring. After that, there's a plan to integrate some commuter railway lines. But one politician argues the bus changes alone will cost the public if too few drivers switch.
Who is going to pay for that? And in my book, there's only three people. It's either the government, which is going to have to cough up some more cash. Will they do that? I'm not so sure. Secondly, it's going to be the councils of Greater Manchester who are going to have to find that money. I don't think they've got that money. Or it's you and me, the taxpayers, the ratepayers.
Transport bosses here say they're looking to expand services and improve punctuality, with more people using the bus year on year. Rob Smith, ITV News, Manchester.
Well, responding to the comments made by the bus passenger in a Rob's report, TFGM said, "We are sorry that this customer did not have the information they needed to make their journey. We want to reassure passengers, in particular disabled passengers, that we will continue to listen and act on the vital feedback they provide in order to make travel as easy and inclusive as possible and deliver the high-quality public transport system they deserve."
Right, well, on to sport now, and the big game at Anfield was a day to forget for one Liverpool star in particular, wasn't it, Chris?
It was indeed, yeah. I won't keep you in suspense over who it was for much longer. Arne Slot says rumours of a move to Real Madrid did not put Trent Alexander-Arnold off his game yesterday, though he admits he'd probably be alone in that opinion.
In those things, but it's, I think 9 out of 10 people will tell you that it affected him, but I'm one of the 10 that tells you that I don't think that affected him. What affected him is that he had to play Bruno Fernandes and Diogo Dalot. which are two starters for Portugal. Great players.
I'm trying to push this team every day. Sometimes it maybe is not the best way, because I'm always challenging these players in everything I do, because I feel that we are not just the players, but everybody in Manchester are too comfortable. So I think we need sometimes a shock, and you can see it today. We were a different team.
Now, it's been 15 years since Blackburn beat neighbours Burnley, and that wait continues after the latest Lancashire derby. Burnley extended their unbeaten run in the Championship to 13 games with a 1-0 win. Elsewhere, Preston grabbed a point from a 1-1 draw with Oxford. In League One, Bolton scored in stoppage time to win 2-1 at Exeter, and injury time was kind to Blackpool too, as they snatched a late 1-1 draw at Wycombe. Stockport and Wigan both lost, but Crewe moved into League Two's top two with a 4-1 win over Bromley. Tranmere are breathing easier after their 1-0 win over Carlisle. Salford beat MK Dons 1-0 to make it 6 wins in a row. Barrow were beaten, but Accrington warmed up for this week's trip to Anfield with a 2-0 win at Colchester. We will have much more on that trip Accrington are making to Anfield later on this week. Exciting week, FA Cup third round week. Now, Warrington's darts champion Luke Littler has set his sights on Phil Taylor's record of 16 world titles after claiming his first at the age of just 17. Yes, these were the scenes at his old club, the St Helens Darts Academy, as Littler beat 3-time champion Michael van Gerwen by 7 sets to 3. Now he says he has a taste for trophies.
Yeah, this is why we play the game. Obviously for the titles, obviously the money's there, we all know it is. But one thing I do enjoy when I do lift the trophy is when just all the confetti comes down, the sparkles go up. I like to win one of every major and then add on to them. I could be chasing Michael's 3 titles and then potentially Phil's 16.
Yes, huge congratulations to Luke. Well, one of the many messages of congratulations Luke received came from David Beckham, who today was leading tributes to an unsung hero of Manchester United. Kath Phipps, the receptionist at the club's training ground, spent more than half a century at the club, and judging by the number of club legends at her funeral at Manchester Cathedral today, her impact was much greater than you might think, as David Chisnall reports.
Manchester United's most successful manager led the tributes today as the club said farewell to one of its most loved figures. Sir Alex Ferguson, along with David Beckham and the current first-team squad, arrived at Manchester Cathedral for a Thanksgiving service to remember the life of the club's long-serving receptionist Kath Phipps, who died last month at the age of 85. In his eulogy, Sir Alex described her as a wonderful lady and a true club legend.
Without question, 55 years. I did 26 and I thought that was unbelievable. So she was a fantastic person, and I was really glad that all the players turned out. That's a really moment. Well, she would appreciate that. She deserves something really special because she's a special person. She loved people, and you can't think of a moment when you say that she didn't enjoy her life. She's a real United person.
Charlton! Well, Kath joined the club just after Sir Matt Busby's side had won the European Cup in 1968.
I just get up every morning as a happy person, and I come here and I love just seeing them all, and I'll miss them one day when I'm not here.
During her years of service, she outlasted and outshone many of the club's footballing stars. And in her role on reception at the club's training ground, she became loved for her cheery smiles and warm hugs.
I think everyone that's gone through Manchester United, been there, remembers the hug and the welcome hug and the goodbye hug. So, and her smile. So Kath was unbelievable.
Kath was the first Manchester United person I ever met in my life. Every time we were training, I'd go by Old Trafford and sit next to her and do my meal, have a cup of tea. So she was a very important person. To me.
She was Manchester United through and through. She just loved all the players, and that's why she looked after them all, and that's why they all respected her so much.
Always smiled, always had a hug, and yeah, even if I didn't need to go and pick anything up from her little desk, I would make sure I diverted to go and see her. And I was very lucky to go and see her at the house before she died, so I wouldn't have missed this for the world.
Despite all the special memories created by these stellar names with United, It's the memory of one very special lady being cherished most tonight. David Chisnell, ITV News, Manchester.
Yeah, that was some guest list for Kath. You know, quite rightly, we cover a lot of funerals of legendary footballers, but isn't it great to see somebody who's worked for the club for such a long time getting the tributes that they deserve?
Yeah, and you said she was really lovely every time you met her.
Always lovely, always made me a brew when I came in when I was there to do an interview. She always made me a coffee. No biscuits, though. That's just for the players.
Can't have it all.
Just the professionals, Chris. Next, the world premiere in Burnley of the sequel to the hit film Bank of Dave.
Yeah, the original movie told the story of Burnley businessman and Dave Fishwick, who set up a community bank in the town. Now, Bank of Dave 2, The Lone Ranger, tells the story of how the self-made millionaire took on payday lenders.
Well, the film stars and the man himself were out despite the snow. And just a warning, there is flash photography in our entertainment correspondent Caroline Whitmore's reports.
Welcome to the world premiere of The Lone Ranger, Bank of Dave 2. It's here in the centre of the universe, Burnley Centre.
Hiya, I'm Dave.
Do I know you?
I set up the Bank of Dave.
Bank of Dave 2 is all about when myself and David H, my right-hand man, went after the payday loan industry and we helped get Wonga shut down. People end up borrowing a couple of £100 off them and it turns out to be thousands and thousands that they have to pay back.
If I borrowed £200 from your bank, how much would they owe in a year's time?
You'd owe £216 in a year's time.
Right, and what about late payment fees?
No. So long as you've got a good reason, we don't charge them.
That's why Netflix are brilliant, allowing us to shine a light on this powerful subject and also shining a light on this wonderful part of the world, which is Lancashire.
You brought your shovel.
Got me shovel there as well. Get the shovel in the popcorn.
Welcome to Burnley.
Living the dream.
You know Ray, right? His marriage broke up after he took out 2 of them loans without telling his wife.
I play a character called Oliver, who works for Citizens Advice. And when you first see him at the start of the film, he's a bit of a lost soul, really. But then he meets Dave Fishwick, played by Rory Kinnear. If you look closely, you might see the real Dave Fishwick playing a cameo.
Oh, we'll look out for it. Nikki, you're Dave's real wife. Joe, you're playing Nikki in the film.
I am.
Is he dead?
No, just sleeps like that. Mrs. Fishwick too. It's just an honour to be back, really. It's been a really nice experience.
We've been together 30 years, so I know him inside out. I know when to leave him be and when to push a little bit. And it needed to be in Burnley. Everything, the heart of everything is here.
I take my mum into the town centre now and again. I'll sit with her and talk for ages. In London, they just tell you to get out.
Rory, you play Dave Fishwick for the second time. Dave's just said, can I stand on a box? I love that.
Yeah, no, I need to. I'm a lot smaller. Rory's proper 6'4", and I'm 5'2" and a bit.
£1,900.
What do you do in preparation? Do you just spend time with him?
Oh, God, no.
I'd send him bonkers.
First one came up and we had a nice sort of 3 or 4 hours in his kitchen, which we ended up using as his kitchen in the actual film.
There's Rory playing me with the accent and the mannerisms and everything, and it's quite scary.
And I might have been second choice to Tom Cruise, but he's still happy about it.
We've never told him that!
In one word, what is it?
Just one word.
Just
out of
one.
You're kidding. You met him.
What is the best thing about Burnley, Rory?
One word? You couldn't limit me to one.
Football?
Dave and Nikki Fishwick.
It's not one word, but anyway, I like it.
It's one entity, though. They are one.
People.
I was going to say that.
I was going to say that.
Community spirit.
Everything.
Oh, I love that. High five. Well done.
It's a higher five off Rory. Look at it up there.
My father-in-law's a Burnley football fan, so I'd agree it is the people in Burnley.
Oh, I was going to say, we need Dave at ours, shoveling the snow out from the front door. Anyway, let's go back to Ross now and get the weather forecast.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello again. So this spell of wintry weather is going to continue, but we have seen the back of the heaviest of the snowfall. The wintry showers, although dotted around, are going to be hit and miss. Cold though, and particularly icy as we head into tomorrow morning. Some severe frosts as we make our way through the week. But in the mix too, we do have some sunny spells and some lighter breezes. The heaviest of the snowfall and the rain has cleared its way out towards the east, associated with that area of low pressure there. But it is still in control of our weather, and so down from the north, we're seeing a few of these showers fringing into our part of the world, but also dragging down that air, and underneath clearer skies with the cold air, temperatures by the middle of the week overnight could be dipping down to around -10 degrees. But back to the here and now, as we head through this evening and overnight. Now you can see quite a few showers developing at times, and over higher ground we could see a few centimetres of snowfall. By the early hours, most of those have disappeared, and temperature-wise, we're still looking at them dropping down to around -4, -5 degrees, even in some of our built-up areas. So of course, we know it is a cold start as we head into tomorrow morning. Warning for ice as we start the day, particularly on those untreated surfaces, and particularly anywhere we're seeing the stream of showers. They're a bit more hit and miss as we make our way into the afternoon. We get those brighter breaks in between. With the sunshine, highs of 4 or 5 degrees, but in the winds it is going to feel closer to freezing. Through Tuesday and into Wednesday, little in the way of change. We should lose the majority of those showers, but we do hold on to clear skies and those cold conditions. Again, frosty and icy as we start the day on Wednesday. And despite those brighter breaks through the rest of the week, it is going to stay very cold indeed.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Any New Year's resolutions?
Shout at my kids less. How about you?
Lose my Christmas timber. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.